So our glucocorticoid receptor complex now traverses or passes through our nuclear membrane, our nuclear envelope, and these complexes will be able to bind to specific portions of DNA that showcase specificity and high affinity for the receptor hormone complex. So these areas of the DNA are said to be response elements. No? So for the case of our glucocorticoid example, certain portions of the DNA are said to be GREs, or glucocorticoid response elements, right? That are binding or recognizes the uh, hormone receptor complex and allows it to bind to it. As binding happens, or as after binding happens, we expect that there will be some changes on the transcriptional co-regulators represented by the green triangles here. Okay, and the change in these transcription co-regulators will enhance the process of gene of that will enhance the process of gene transcription. So whatever the hormone targets to be expressed, whatever protein or whatever RNA the hormone is targeting to express in a higher or a faster rate, that is what our response element or our co-regulators rather, no, will influence or will exert their influence into. Okay, on the other hand, for the case of thyroid hormone represented by the circle shape. All right, so the thyroid hormones do not have their receptors in the cytoplasm. They directly traverse the cell membrane and the nuclear envelope, as you can see here, right? So they directly traverse the two membranes, and they find the receptors already attached to the response element particular for the hormone. So TRE, thyroid response element, right? So their uh, receptor is already attached to the response element, to the DNA sequence. No? Now, as the hormone, as your thyroid hormone binds to the receptor bound to the response element, conformational change happens and will also result to activation of gene transcription. Okay, let's describe what REs, or response elements, are. No? So response elements are DNA sequences that are responsible or that are capable of recognizing hormone receptor complexes. No? So some examples of hormone response elements and the specific hormone that they can recognize: GRE, glucocorticoid; PRE, progestins, right? MRE, case of mineralocorticoids; ARE, androgens; ERE, estrogens; thyroid hormone, retinoic acid, vitamin D also have their specific response elements, and the secondary messenger for hydrophilic hormones, cyclic adenosine monophosphate, also have a particular response element, no, within the DNA sequence. If you take a look at the DNA sequence, okay, let's see. Let's take a look at the DNA sequence. So here you're seeing the nature of HREs, right? Opposite directions or opposite arrows, as described in our uh, diagram, are said to be um illustrating imperfect inverted palindromes present in majority of HREs. Okay. The other hand, the ones that